Hello beautiful people and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would switch things up and do my Q&A in the kitchen while I prepare food. Initially I was actually going to do it over wine, but I completely forgot and only remembered on Thursday at 8 p.m. that I had no wine and that obviously there's no alcohol sold on the weekends anymore. So there's no wine, but I will be making my go-to breakfast, which is collagen oats and berries. I don't know why I'm telling you guys what I'll be making for breakfast, but you guys are going to be chilling with me while I just take it easy and make breakfast. I'll be answering your questions that you guys asked me on Instagram. So yeah, let's get into this week's video. So I have cheated a little bit. I actually pre-made my oats during the week. I always make like a little bit extra so that I don't have to make my oats every single day. So I'm pulling it out of the fridge. I'm gonna warm it up and hopefully I'll be able to multitask. I pride myself on multitasking and I always say I'm a brilliant multitasker. So we're gonna put this into practice and see how well I do. So let's begin the oat making. Well, the oat making since I've already made it. I don't know if I should tell you guys what I'll be making. I mean, like the process of me making my oats. I mean, I know you guys all know how to make oats in a pot or in the microwave, but I'm definitely not gonna go through my process. So let me begin with the first question. I'm gonna start off with this question because people would be interested. The question is, why did you choose interior design? So that question for me is quite difficult to answer because I will say, I feel like interior design chose me in some form of a way, just because of how I ended up in interior design. So people who already know me know that both my parents are doctors and I got a lot of pressure from other people like, oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to follow in your parents' footsteps. And so I always had that like external pressure from others. And for the longest time, I did think that I was going to pursue that as a career. And thank goodness I didn't. I actually did a job shadow in Durban. I can't remember which hospital. And I had the worst time in that hospital. Not because the hospital was bad or anything. I just didn't enjoy being around sick people. And when I actually left after a full like shift in the hospital, I was so happy to be outside, seeing people who were healthy and well and smiling. And I just did not enjoy that experience at all. So I knew I think I was in grade 9 or grade 10, I can't remember when we have to do that. I knew then like definitely don't want to go into medicine. And I think like any teenager, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I dabbled with the idea of engineering. And then at school they had a careers day and I think there was an interior designer there or an interior design school that was there. And I can't really remember or recall this properly. Like now that I think about it, so hard. I could have actually also been my mother's influence. But at the time I was thinking I would either do engineering or architecture. So I applied at Wits and various other schools and I got in for engineering, but like prelim. So I wasn't like in and I had to wait for the next year to find out if I was in. So in that time of waiting, my mother suggested me just trying the interior design route. And I got in there like almost immediately. And I was nervous because I didn't do art at school. So anyways, I got in pretty much immediately and I was still waiting on bits to see if I got into, I think I went for civil engineering. I don't know if I actually got it. I can't remember. I think maybe I didn't. But I'm glad. And I got into interior design and I actually loved it. I think I've always been in love with like the built environment, but I wasn't sure in which route I would go into. That's why I was interested and fascinated with architecture, but I just felt like I'd never done art in school, so I didn't feel that I could do it. So long story short, like fell on my lap and a suggestion that my mother had given me and she had picked up on the fact that I like the built environment. And so yeah, that's why I'm an interior designer. Oh my God, I'm not multitasking. Let me get some milk. Okay, so I'm not lactose intolerant or anything. I just prefer to have as little dairy as possible. Oh my god, I forgot to give this a shake, but I just had coffee, so I'm sure it's fine. Okay, so on to the next question. This question is, who do you look up to in the interior design world? So I actually don't follow many interior designers, simply because I just felt like I don't want to be influenced. It's so easy for you to see what other people are doing, and then somehow it just gets like translated into what you're designing. I've always just wanted to stay pure to trying to be original. It's very difficult to be original in this day and age, like, let's be honest. But I've just wanted to not have too much noise and to rely too much on other people's interior design aesthetics. I'm really trying to come up with a aesthetic that marries my personality. But I think the only interior designer that I actually, when I was quite young, really was into was Kelly Wrestler, just because I enjoyed the way she designed. Like, she just puts everything out there. Like, she will mix the most craziest patterns together in an interior space. I loved her use of color and not shy in design. Like, she will just go for it and use things that I would be too scared to use. So I love that fact that she is gutsy and she goes for it. And yeah, it's just kind of similar to my personality. I like love a lot of things and I projectile vomit a lot of things out, and you can see that also in my fashion, the things that I wear. I'm quite quirky, I'm quite weird, and I enjoy a lot of things and I appreciate a lot of things. So I think Kelly would be one of them. And I also really do look at a lot of firms. So I've really been into a lot of firms in Australia because they're doing a lot of amazing things in design. So yeah, I just try to keep my mind as open as possible. I don't like being influenced by other people. It's so easy to take someone else's idea by mistake without even realizing it. So I just want to avoid that at all costs. Okay, time to warm this up now. Okay, so while that is warming up, I'm gonna answer the next question. Okay, so I really liked this question. What is your signature touch? The thing people say this was definitely designed by Zek. So I will say that I'm still finding my signature touch. I mean, I've only been working for about 5 years, and I would say my first year or two was a lot of learning. So in terms of design, I don't think I was ready truly to start coming up with my signature designs. A lot of people who know me will know that, like, okay, so I like love a lot of things. I am that like typical projectile vomit type of person, and you would see that in the way I dress and the way I used to dress. I've definitely now learned I've definitely refined the way I dress now, and I'm just a lot more simplistic, but I do still have those quirky elements in my dress that, you know, obviously represents my personality. So I'll definitely say I'm still trying to find my signature. It's obviously very difficult when you're working on various projects. You have different clients who want different things. So some clients would want something very neutral, or other clients would just want crazy colors and texture and patterns. And so, yeah, just trying to balance those varying scales of clients and the extremes, and trying to figure out how I would stitch my signature in there. I'm still trying to figure that out. But for now, I would say my design is definitely leaning towards more of a subtle kind of design, which focuses on texture. I'm really big on texture. I'm very big on layering. What I mean by that is I love neutral colors. I would focus on using various tones of a specific base color, layering that with different textures. So the floor would be a texture, the wall could be a textured wall in a tonal color of that base color. The rug could be another texture, so going for like a Hessian rug or going for a knotted wool rug. Also choosing like a type of wallpaper that has like groove detailing in it, and also implementing those kinds of details in my joinery. So I'm very focused on details these days and really using that to amplify a space rather than going for like a splash of color or a graphic print. But I am layering those elements in. So like with artwork, I would choose something quite bright in a neutral space. But I'm definitely, right now, I'm definitely focusing on the details and I'm enjoying that. And I think that just adds a lot to a space. It's not like obvious details. It could be the smallest detail, but your eyes will just pick it up and you will enjoy the space. Okay, I think that answers that. But just to wrap up with that question. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think as I grow, as more and more clients push my boundaries and push my knowledge on interior design, I think that definitely helps in me figuring out my signature. And yeah, I think once I start showing you guys the work I've done, you'll probably start noticing some patterns and you will be able to see what my signature is. It'll be quite interesting to see what you guys think. Okay, next question. This question is, which city do you think is best to start off in this career? I started working, Cape Town was like booming in terms of design, but I think Joburg has definitely picked up their feet and they've moved away from being so corporate focused. They now are really focusing on beautiful retail spaces like restaurants, and also their home decor and interior design has definitely improved. I don't know, I'm just mentioning those two cities. I mean, I suppose if you want to stay in South Africa, those are the two cities I would probably choose between. Yeah, it's a very hard one. Like, Joburg has definitely caught up. So, and I think the money in Joburg is definitely better. So I would, I mean, I wouldn't say chase money, because when I started, I definitely didn't chase the money. I was chasing learning. I was chasing learning at really good firms and just getting the best experience, getting to know the best materials and meeting amazing people along the way and suppliers. So it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for creativity and design, Cape Town is still really, really good, but Joburg is a very close second. And if you're looking for design and like, obviously you have to make a living, but if you are really focused on making a living quite quickly and moving up the paces quite quickly, then Joburg. But hello, the world is your oyster. You don't have to stick to those three cities in South Africa. If you can, I would definitely say go abroad and go abroad and work there. The only thing that I would say about being abroad is just obviously their building and their construction detailing is a little bit different to ours, because they obviously use different materials, they have different building regulations. So you'd have to learn a new country's system or way of working, which is fine, and then you can come back here and then basically relearn that. I think the most important thing is just gaining, one, the confidence, and two, the knowledge from your colleagues, and three, the experience. Okay, so I think that answers that question. I'm almost done. I mean, yeah, this multitasking thing is really, really difficult. I don't know how YouTubers do it. I'm really struggling. Like, my food is getting cold. Almost done with the questions, and then I'll be able to eat. Yay. So the next question is, I've got a beach house in Europe to finish and furnish. Where do I start? Okay, so that question came from Lionel. It's a bit of a tricky one to answer without any other information. So is it a existing house that you are renovating in terms of like hard finishes, or are you just looking at softs? So it is quite of a tricky question to answer. There is another question that kind of follows onto this question from someone else. But I think for this question, the best way I can answer it is you have to basically define what you need. So you need to define the scope of this renovation. Are you renovating the entire house? So are you knocking down any walls? Or if you aren't knocking down any walls, are you just renovating the actual like hard finishes? Are you changing the floor finishes, your tiling in your bathroom? Are you redoing your bathroom completely? Are you redoing your kitchen completely? There are quite a few questions that you need to answer first before anyone can answer them for you, if that makes sense, because it depends on the scope of the project. If it requires a lot of renovation, I would definitely recommend getting an interior designer. If it's quite minor and you could potentially do it on your own, like if you aren't doing too many things, then you could do it on your own. But the benefit of getting interior designer is that, I mean, we provide a full service, so you won't have to worry about like running around getting a plumber, getting someone to tile for you, getting the various parties involved to complete whatever you need to complete. You literally give us a brief and then we make sure it's implemented. Obviously, we come to you with what we have decided to do with the space, and all you have to do is just sit back and relax and yeah, just enjoy your time. So yeah, Lionel, I think you should definitely DM me or I'm gonna DM you so that I can answer your question better based off on like more information. It's very tricky to answer this question. Okay, cool. So like I said, this leads on to another question, which will be my last question that I'm answering. It was quite a hard question, I won't lie, but I'm going to try and answer it as best as possible. Question is, at what threshold should a client consider an interior designer for a project? A, being property value, B, project budget, and then C, complexity or scope of the project, planning a tricky space or bringing multiple areas of the property together. For example, open plan kitchen, lounge, dining area, bar, and then D, all of the above. Okay, so, it's not that tricky of a question. So I will say that it all depends on the complexity and scope of the project. Property value, I don't really think that it would really influence if you get an interior designer or not. It's definitely budget and the complexity and scope of the project. So for instance, like I've mentioned a lot of times, I mean, obviously if it's a new build, you'll definitely should get an interior designer. A lot of the cases we deal with renovations, and depending on how big the renovation is, I would recommend getting an interior designer, just because we are skilled and we have the knowledge and the experience in bringing together a home or a, let's say if it's a hotel, like a boutique hotel, we have like the experience on materials that we would use for a specific space. So if it's like a high traffic zone, we know what materials we would use and what materials we would stay away from. And for instance, like if you are in a wet area, for instance, we would look at a specific tile with a specific R value. So things like that, that your normal consumer or the normal Joe wouldn't know. Like, you know, you would go and build or get something built, and like builders sometimes don't always advise you against certain things. It depends on the builder you get again. So you might think, you know, you're buying this beautiful tile or this beautiful marble and you go and put it in somewhere and it's the wrong application, and you end up slipping and falling and cracking your skull open in the shower. There's just so many factors in interior design that we think about that clients may not see up front, and I think it would just give you the peace of mind hiring an interior designer, because we know the processes that we need to go through, we know the materials that we would specify for various applications. We just know how to bring a space together and beautifully. So definitely, if it's quite a large project, I would honestly say hire a designer. And yeah, okay, fine, I suppose this would increase your property value because it's been well thought out, so it's a win-win situation. But obviously, you know, hiring a designer, you need to have the capital for it. So yeah, you just have to decide, hey, like it's a hard one, because I would always say hire the people who are skilled to give you exactly what you want. So it saves you a headache at the end of the day. It saves you tons of money going down the drain because you didn't know that you can't do a certain thing somewhere because it has a knock-on effect on something else. So if you can, I would say invest in getting an interior designer. It will really save you a heartache of lots of mistakes down the road because you didn't know, unfortunately, and you weren't advised. So yeah, then the next question to that, is there an industry rule of thumb as to what percentage of value should be invested in interior design and finishes? I'm gonna be honest and say not that I'm aware of. I am still quite new to the game. I really think it's up to the client what they are willing to spend. I mean, we'd obviously advise, and we know, I mean, we do work on a like rate per square meter, and we can tell you that a high-end property, typically you'd spend X amount per square meter. If you are coming in at a medium level, you'd spend this amount. And then if you're coming more on a budget conscious level, this is the rate you could look at. So I don't know if that really answers the question, but that's kind of the margins that we use to categorize various clients and to also help the clients understand their budgets and understand where their budget can take them. So that's a wrap on the questions. I'm still making my oats. Wow, I can't believe it's taken me so long. Hopefully I managed to answer everything well. This multitasking thing here, I don't think it's for everyone. Like, I really thought I would be good at this, and I really hope that I managed to answer the questions well. If I didn't, I'm very sorry. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this style of video, just like very casual. I thought I've been doing such formal videos. Let me do something very, very cash. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next week.